Hi everyone, welcome to episode 9 of Talking Trikes. In today's episode, we're going to bring you the latest news, not much, but some news anyway, as well as a new segment and another special guest. So is there any new news for you today, Carl?
Probably the biggest news that I've seen this week was our post that we had on Facebook. So Fast Cats Racing, tell us a little bit about that, Darcy, and what's going on and what's going to happen.
Yeah, so they're basically going for another round of their extremely successful and popular track race that they had a couple of weeks ago now. It's going to be cool, but the big difference is that they're not limiting it to just Mowbray High School and Fast Cats. You can enter your own team for $160 and get to race in really cool, safe conditions, just like how we would be used to. So looking forward to it. I'm going to be out there. Hopefully I can get out a ride because I sure would like to be out in the trike.
Yeah, I'll be jealous not being able to rip around in a trike. So sounds good. And there's going to be schools on the following day?
Yep. So thanks to the support from Norwood Moriata High School as well as other big schools in the Peddlebury community, they're looking to do another schools race. They've had some mini races in the past couple of weeks, but they're looking to do sort of the main one on the day after this Fast Cat one. So that'll be the Sunday if Bridge went ahead. Yeah, so it's going to be some cool velodrome racing. But we will be on the scene. So we will be videoing it. We'll be bringing you all the gossip and hopefully some live videos so you can all check it out and get around it. So it should be sick.
Man, that sounds good. It's going to be good to see some action.
Yeah, man.
I know that'll be pretty exciting if you know that you got a ride coming up next month. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Darcy. So on tonight, we've got a really, really big guest. He's been in the sport for such a long time, as long as I can remember, been racing at such an elite level. Loads of experience. And look, I've raced in a team with him. I've raced against him many years. And look, as fierce as he is on the track, he's one of the nicest guys. He'll help anyone and give all the best advice. So on tonight, we have Rhys Bartlett. All right, everyone. So here's Rhys. Welcome him onto the show. Rhys, how are you, mate? How you been doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Bit over the lockdown in Victoria at the moment, but besides that, doing pretty well. How about yourselves?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Doing pretty good. Enjoying what we're doing here and getting on the show and talking all things trikes. Darcy?
Yeah, likewise. I'm enjoying the sweet freedom.
Yeah.
But no, it's been good. It's been all right. Yeah. Hopefully we can all get back to positive stuff and trikes. That's what we're here for.
So obviously, thanks heaps for coming on the show. You've been in the sport for, we're going to find out how long, but let's talk back to when you first got into the sport. Like, when was it and how did you go about, first getting into a three-wheeled bike?
No, I can explain that. So growing up as a kid, I always enjoyed riding my BMX around the backyard, grew up on an acre, and a mountain bike as well. And then at school in grade 6, they had a couple of HPV teams. So this is back in 2001. And we had tryouts on the netball courts. And of course, I wanted a part of it. Looked fascinating, looked really awesome. So tried out, clocked some of the fastest times and almost didn't make it into the team. So my parents actually caught wind that the teacher at the time, because I wasn't a footy player, I wasn't an athletics runner, was going to miss out. So they spoke to the school and they realised that, well, we're doing it honestly on times, should be put in a team. And that's sort of pretty much where it started. So did it in grade 6. The trike we rode that year was a brick and a half. It was like driving a double-decker bus around. Like, it wasn't a quick trike. We still did pretty reasonably from memory. I don't know where we came. And then went to high school the next year, and thankfully Frankston High also competed, Maryborough, RSV Energy Breakthrough. And yeah, pretty much just I had the bug after that first year, so just wanted to keep going with it, and I did. and yeah, did it every year through high school bar year 11. Wasn't able to get teacher support and everything working. It just, it's a lot of commitment to make a team happen and to coordinate everything to get there. So yeah, didn't happen that year, but the year before, when I was in year 10, I was there. There was Ducky, who you may know from Underdog originally. I think it's Underdog he started. He used to race with Tru Blu for a while. He actually helped out through, I think it was a mutual friend that used to be at the school, just as a mechanic for the team. So he was there, I was there, and that was the particular year that John Pearman and Brenton Pearman were at Maryborough. They knew a couple of the teachers from Frankston High, and they were sort of on a bit of a lookout if there was any riders sort of keen on racing community teams, because they were looking for a couple. And after that Maryborough, they picked up myself, Kane Butcher and Ducky. So we started racing from 06 with Tru Blu. I raced for Tru Blu whenever they raced. There's a few years we had off. Good old Johnny needed a bit of a breather. Like it's a massive commitment, and like the attention to detail that John had put into a bike, prepping it, everything leading up to a race, and it'd just be pristine. It was a piece of artwork. You almost felt guilty hopping in it and sweating in it before you crashed it.
Yeah.
And yeah, they raced most years up till 2014. Bridge was the last race with them. In the gaps, I'd ridden with other teams. Had a race with Platt Racing over in Adelaide. Had a Thaggy with Instinct Racing. There's been a couple of others probably. 2011 raced with Blueshift. And then once Tru Blu stopped in 2014, I can't remember how, but I raced the 15, 16 seasons with Aurora.
Yeah. Jumped on board.
Can't for the life of me remember how that came about, but it was a good couple of years.
I think I'm not sure. We might have contacted you, mate. I don't know. Yeah.
I think possibly. But yeah, I don't know what happened, but it was a good couple of years. Had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then, Aaron gave it up in end of 2016. So I was sort of looking. I was far from done with racing Trikes yet, so I'm like, see what's out there. And I think I made contact with the Wattle guys. Obviously, over the years, we'd had a fair bit of competition with them, so I knew a couple of them. And my old man had always got along with John Taylor, and I sort of asked if they had a ride available, and certainly didn't expect to go in there and be given the golden treatment, like just be a part of a team and quick enough, get a ride.
So obviously you've gone from Tru Blu, done some other races, and then with Aurora had some success, and then joining Wattle. What was it like? You know, did you step in and did you feel comfortable? Did you work as a bit of a mentor for some of the younger guys, or how did that go?
Yeah, it was an interesting change. So it probably more reminds me of back when I was in year 12 at school. So my year 12 team had a bunch of 8 misfits from year 7 through to myself in year 12, and just seeing everyone work together as a team. People that normally wouldn't come together and work with each other. And that is one of the things I've always loved, especially about the energy breakthrough, but also generally HPV racing, because that's what you do. And Wattle, I think, really does a great job of getting back to that core of everyone contributing, everyone chipping in, and like you're there on merit. You're not there just because you're a name. And it's just a great team to be a part of. And I think also having a few teams, so you've got younger kids as well as a girls team, like it just balances everything out. So it's not very one-sided. Racing with Tru Blu, some of the best years, but like it's a bunch of teenage guys. There's not all the extra stuff going on around it. You can just concentrate on yourselves in a race. So big change, but love it.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. So you've done it for so long. What is the thing about racing that brings you back? Like, what do you just love about it, which just keeps bringing you back over and over again?
The drive to do better.
Mm.
So you have some races, you have good races, you bad races, you crash it, you ride well, do fastest times, and I hate getting past. And if you
Don't
haven't
we
done
all?
training, you do, you hate it. But if you don't put in the effort up front, training, preparing for a race, that happens.
Yeah.
So it's always just trying to come back fitter and stronger and better, and it doesn't always happen. Quite often the reverse. Back in the day, I used to be one of the most lax in our team back in the Tru Blu days of training. I'd sort of train for about 8-9 weeks tops. Those boys were sort of racing A grade, and yeah, I managed to keep up with them somehow. Certainly wasn't speed.
Yeah. I remember talking to this is years ago. I remember talking with a guy I raced with, Mark Henriksen or Henry, and he used to. I reckon he'd have bad dreams after the race because you'd be out there hunting him down, and you'd come past, and he'd get out of the trike, and he'd said to me, "Kyle, all I saw were these legs," and then he was gone, and he was talking about you in the trike, and yeah, you definitely. It was difficult racing you with Tru Blu. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
some scary times.
There were some good times.
Yeah,
some good races and some not so good races, but
yeah,
it's just you always want to keep doing better. And the bug of that race feel, like when you're in a stint and your red mist comes down, like your heart rate's up, you're breathing hard, there's trikes everywhere, and it's just chaos. But you're just trying to weave that gap. Like it's hard to explain, and like to people that haven't raced trikes, it's like go-karts but pedal powered.
Yeah.
And the fitter you are, the faster you can go. You can't just buy a new race engine. You got to train harder. But yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah, it's so difficult to explain to people. But you talked about those great memories. Were there any good, bad, funny memories that stick out to you at all that you remember fondly or not so?
Yeah, I think probably one of the best memories was 2008 winning Bridge. Like we'd sort of come over the year prior, have a bit of a sound out, see what it's like. We had a head out call fleet trike that year. We managed to finish third, and we sort of thought, all right, we can come back, we can do better. And then the year after, is the first year we had a John Taylor fairing. And Michael Rogan built us a new chassis, and it all just came together, and that thing was an absolute weapon. And yeah, that race in 08 was just back and forth. Awesome result, and everyone worked pretty hard for it. But it was like, I think most of the wins I've had at Bridge have only been by a lap, or like the seconds have been by a lap. Like it's not often that there's been a blowout like 10 or 15, 20 laps. Like it's generally pretty close over there, which at 24 hours of racing to do that. And like in 08, I remember, so I started back when I did train a bit more and still had the start role, but then I stopped training and didn't quite have the pace to start the races. But I think it was the 8 hour and the 16 or 18 hour mark, the three top teams were still on the same lap at those 2 points.
Wow.
Something crazy like that. Like it just, there was nothing in it. But that was probably one of the highlights. And probably one other highlight would have actually been Wonthaggi last year. So when it was announced to be the last Wonthaggi, winning that with the Wattle boys, and I got to finish the race as well, which that meant a lot. Like to be able to do that with a good group of guys down there, and it's, in my view, it's one of the awesome races. Like I just love the track, and the fact it's a race, it's a little bit less atmosphere probably than something like the Bridges, but I don't know, the track, I just love it. I'm addicted to it.
Yeah, it's a cool track. It's kind of unique. It's got a little bit of everything. And Rhys, do you recall any of your, I remember some of your crazy fast stints there. Do you remember any numbers or averages or anything like that for anyone watching at home?
Yeah, so I remember one year in particular when I actually trained like all summer and I was super, super fit. 2012, one thaggy. I did 3 stints. They were like an hour, hour and 20 or something each of them. And I averaged 201, 202s for the whole 3.5 hours. Like,
Yeah.
keep in mind the track was a bit different back then. It wasn't as bumpy as it is now around a bus stop corner. The second part of the straight, near pit exit, it's way coarser and slower now than it used to be. But like all the same at the time, like I don't think anyone came near it. Like,
Yeah.
I think in my first stint I had an hour and I put like 6 laps over 2 minutes.
Wow.
That's crazy, man. Like, and even that feeling at that track, it's just some of the corners you just, when you nail them, it just feels so good.
So good. Coming into that bottom corner off the oval, so you've got a little kink, and then the next left-hander, that left-hander, just floating it through there, and the left wheel's just in the air over the curb, but it's not actually on the ground. And
yeah, and just carrying all that speed, bang! It's good. It's a good one. I reckon we've chatted with some of the Aurora boys, and some of them absolutely hate that track, and some of them absolutely love it.
Yeah.
It took me a while to actually kind of, learn how to ride a track. And that's one thing we've spoken a little bit about, every track, the way you might train or race the track, it's kind of a little bit unique there, but yeah, it's a great track. So talking about that, would that be a highlight of like one of your best performances or is there anything else come to mind?
Oh, that'd by far be my top performance in a trike, I reckon. Like, I've been up there, but never like, that was probably the fastest rider on track that race. I don't think I've ever been near that since. Like, I've sort of been up there, but like I was sort of only a matter of seconds off the lap record for race pace. Which, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'll ever come near that again. I'd love to, but
we never know.
I keep trying. Keep trying, but trying to actually do the training, it just, you never get a clear year where you just absolutely nail the training.
Yeah.
Where something gets in the way.
Yeah. But, well, we'll see what happens. It sounds like you're pretty keen for getting back into racing whenever it resumes. So that sounds really cool, and we can't wait to see you back on the track.
Yeah,
Darcy.
Can't wait to be back on track.
Yeah, that's so cool, man. I've never actually raced one thaggy. I feel like I'm missing out.
You really never?
I've never been there. I've never raced there. I've never even seen. I haven't even seen much footage from it. I think. Am I missing out? From what I hear, I might be missing out a little bit.
I think I'd put it in the same boat almost as Kilsyth last year. So Kilsyth, I had a
race out over. Yeah.
I like the technical tracks, and I think this goes back to when I used to race with the Tru Blu boys. Like, I didn't have the straight line speed, so I had to find other ways to make up ground. And you throw some technicality of cornering and traffic in, and I sort of start coming to my own a little bit. And that's just practice. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't always go right. Sometimes it goes really pear-shaped, but yeah, I do like the corners in the traffic. So
yeah. I think those technical tracks, you look at Wonthaggi and you could be on a good lap, and then on a track like that, you might get held up or something could happen, and all of a sudden you lose like 10 seconds in that lap, and that really, that rider craft goes a long way on a track like that compared to probably a track like Adelaide, where it's very hard to gain back, a lap once you lose it. So
Adelaide, Geordie says this. He's like, I'm happy to put you in the team at any race, but Adelaide, you suck there. I'm like, they're cool. It's just a power circuit, and like, I just can't I can't make up ground unless I'm absolutely fit there. Whereas other tracks I can. Like Wonthaggi, it's a sort of track, if you get your rhythm and routine, you can do pretty well around traffic. So in 2000, I'm going to guess 2014, we raced there, a bunch of the Tru Blu guys, but we raced with Mick McTeague in Bluey, so an XBYR bike. and the gear shifter was a nice SRAM mountain bike shifter, but it shut itself about 5 or so years in. So being a full carbon monocoque, you couldn't change a gear cable and gear shifter easily. So we wound in the limit screw on a derailleur and rode single speed for the remainder. And Paul, I'm pretty sure, cracked the fastest lap of the race. I can't remember if it was before or after the shifter broke. Finished second. I don't know by how many laps, but yeah, still finished second by, I think it was only 4 or 5 laps.
Yeah, wow.
So it's that sort of track, like if you get a rhythm, it's not a fast track to slow track, so you can get in that groove. But yeah, I just love it.
Yeah.
One day.
Okay.
One day.
Yeah, one day. Hopefully he can go ahead again. They went to awesome measures this year to get it up and going again, and unfortunately wasn't to be. But who knows what can happen, and it showed the support of the community, what we can do and what we can get going. So that's really cool. Talking a little bit about tough tracks to race on. Have you had many bad accidents or crashes over the time? I do remember.
I feel that's a loaded question.
Tried to keep a straight face.
No, fair enough. There's definitely been some pretty major crashes over the years. There's a few in particular come to mind. Most of them have sort of been you roll over, you whack it back in first gear when you're on your roof or side, and off you go again. And quite often the pits don't even know because you don't lose a lot of time. There's other crashes which can be race ending. I'm sure a lot of people will have seen the images from 2011 Murray Bridge when I was racing with Blueshift and the guys from SA there. And I've got a photo album on Facebook. I've named it the cursed race, and it was literally a cursed race from get-go. First rider had an asthma attack. Second or third rider blacked out and rolled at Channel 7. It was a stifling hot race. And then later on, Wade was riding and crashed into the bottom of the bike, broke his foot or ankle in a couple of spots. And then not long after that, I was riding and coming out of Channel 7, wrote the bike off entirely.
Wow.
Hit the fence doing about 50 odd K an hour. Pretty much came out of the corner. So I'd been gaining on Phantom, who went on to win in the corners, but I'd lose. And Tim Corbett was in at the time. And every time we hit a straight, he'd just pull away. And I'm like, I can't keep up with that. So I was hammering the corners and came out of Channel 7, and that last little kink, he went left of the slow trike and it was yellow. That's all I remember. And it sort of jagged right, and I've jagged right to avoid it. There was a gap there. There wasn't a gap there. And launched it into the fence pretty hard. So ripped the whole knee roll bar apart, and the roof came off and cracked the head roll bar, the rear roll frame of the bike. And the chassis I think was okay, but the fairing was a complete and utter bin job.
I saw a picture of that. I was talking to David Parsons, who raced the Blueshift
Dave Parsons is the guy that started that race. He was absolutely flying and going well till he had an asthma attack and had to come into pits.
Yeah, well, he had a pretty bad accident last year as well. So it's he's not doing so good.
Not had a good run, but
no.
Yeah. So that was probably one of the worst ones. Well, I think fair to say that was probably my worst crash. I've never ended a race in a trike. Other than that, I did cause the Wattle crew a fair bit of pain at Loxton, I think last year. I managed to put the toe out about 60 odd mil and bend cross member and kingpin.
What happened there?
The double corner near where the toilet block is, just before the start finish line. So coming into that first part of that, the right-hander, and I'd gone on the inside of it was a white Aquila, I don't know who it was, and I thought I had enough room, and I sort of made the dive down the inside, so I had a clear exit on the second part of the corner, and they came over a bit more, and I'm like, all right, I'll move over a bit more, and I misjudged where the curb was completely and just nailed it. Popped the tyre and crawled back to pits, and I'm like, sorry guys. And Geordie went out and left 2 black lines up the pits. and we thought it was just water on the tyres initially. I was kind of, I think, hoping, but yeah, no, the toe was cooked.
Yeah. And I think that's, whenever I've watched you race, one of the cleanest, take every corner so well. And it's just shows that it doesn't really, matter your level. It can happen to anyone. And, racing's racing, and things happen when you're fatigued and tired, and accidents happen. So yeah, some pretty bad crashes there. So what about best memories? Like, other than, when you said about race wins and stuff, what about like best memories in terms of like fun? And has there been any really funny stories that you can remember or that comes to mind?
Yeah, definitely with the Tru Blu boys and the Wattle boys, like, and even Aurora, probably less so with Aurora, because I sort of raced with you guys, but because I was down in Melbourne and you guys were all sort of up around the Maryborough area, I didn't have that same team experience.
Yeah.
And like with the Wattle guys, I live further away, but because there's so many races now, I spend a lot more time either going to races with them, or I've spent some weekends up there sort of trying to help out. Like, what have you? The Tru Blu guys, though, like, awesome bunch of mates. Like, we raced together and we started off sort of not getting results, and then started getting results, and it just sort of built. Like, I don't think we really straight away thought, hey, we're going to go out and win these races. It's just, we'd rock up, have a bit of fun, do our absolute best, and started getting results, and sort of, all right, well, I think we can do this. So kept going harder and harder.
Yeah.
But just after events with those guys, always a KFC.
Get a dirty bed.
You have to. You absolutely have to. It's just the best thing. Goes down like a dream after a race.
Oh, I love that.
All right, so I think we'll get on to some quick fire questions and would you rather, well, rather not questions. So we won't really do them in any particular order. We'll just do them together because that's what we seem to do anyway.
Yeah.
So Carl, do you want to take it away, mate?
Yes. Okay. So, Rhys, you're in a 24-hour race and you're 6 hours into the race. 1 lap's in it. Would you rather be leading by a lap or chasing by a lap?
Ooh, have to be leading.
Yeah.
As much as it comes with more pressure, I think I'd prefer to be out front because you never know what's going to happen in a minute.
Right on.
That's true, man. All right, so Rhys, what's your favourite track? Like, what's your favourite track? I know you love Wonthaggi, but is that your favourite track?
I'd have to say Wonthaggi at the moment.
Yeah.
I did thoroughly enjoy the old bridge.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, hopefully we can do something to get that old track back because, yeah, the new bridge just doesn't quite have the same feel as the old track. And then Kilsyth. I loved Kilsyth last year. Bring that back.
Yeah.
All right. My next, would you rather ride in the heat or in the wet?
I'm going to say the wet. As much as I do cope in the heat, I'd prefer to be comfortable in the wet.
Yeah.
So long as I can see, I'm not fogged up to the point I can't see, because that just ends in disaster. Wet.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, Rhys. What's your favourite looking trike? That it could be your team, could be another team, but what's the best looking trike you've ever seen?
I'd almost have to say the 2011 Blueshift. That thing was an absolute gem leading into the race. It's a toss up between that or the 2014 Tru Blu because that thing was Mickey Mouse. It was honestly the best bit of art John had put forward.
Yeah.
All right. So moving on from best looking trike, what about best performing trike? Speed, handling, comfort. What's your pick?
I'd have to say Ironbark. In terms of comfort, Ironbark. So Wattle's newer trike. In terms of outright speed, I don't know whether it's a whole lot quicker. It's definitely quicker, I think, than the 2014 Tru Blu, but I don't know whether it's just memories make the 2014 feel like it was better, but that thing was an absolute gem to ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right. This is probably my last one. But what is your least favourite track?
least favourite track. Oh, you're gonna have to say Adelaide.
Oh, too much power.
Yeah, I actually enjoy, like, all the other tracks have a bit more in terms of cornering, but Adelaide, there's only that one corner. Unless it's wet, and then the top corner coming onto the main straight also becomes a corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Three-wheel
All
drift.
right, my last question. If you're stepping into the bike, who is the rider that you do not want to be stepping into the opposition team? Who do you not want to ride against? Who do you fear?
It'd
Is there anyone?
Have to be
Gary?
Gary. Yeah. That
I've
kid
kind of been doing this thing. Yeah, he's one of a kind, isn't he? I've kind of been, in a good trend riding in a team with him, so I don't have to ride against him.
it's never fun riding against him. Like, I remember there was one bridge, I can't remember which one it was. He was in at the end of the race, or might have been towards the end of the race in the morning on the Sunday.
Yeah.
And he was just reeling off times that were like 15 seconds a lap quicker, just about on lap record pace, like for about 40 minutes. And it's just like, this guy's insane. Like, I think we were in front at the time, but you don't want to be out there when he's out there.
Yeah. No, spot on. We'll have to get him on and ask him, I don't know, what he eats or something.
Yes.
All
Awesome.
right. So that's all good, man. I guess it's time to wrap it up. So we'd like to say a massive thank you to Rhys for coming on the show, man. We appreciate all of your insights and funny experiences and everything that comes with being Rhys Bartlett.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Thanks for coming on. It's been awesome to chat about, how you got into sport, your success, some failures there with some crashes, but all in all, we really look forward to seeing you back on the track when racing resumes, and maybe some of those other boys from Tru Blu that packed up shop, but they might be back, and that'd be great to see. So thanks heaps for joining us, and we'll see you in the future. Darcy, what's going to be happening on our next episode?
More special guests, I guess. I would say the same thing every week. Just more special guests, more news, and keep an eye out for coverage of the sprint races happening at Hanson Velodrome, hosted by Fast Cats Racing. That might be coming out whenever it comes out. So we would all look forward to seeing you guys. Thanks once again, Rhys, and we'll see everyone for episode 10 of Talking Trikes. Goodbye for now.
Thanks for having me, guys.